Hey there, my name is Chris Acton with Acton Creative, and this is a handwoven experience. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about the magic of tie-ups. Now, you may be thinking, okay, Chris, aren't tie-ups just those cord things below the loom? Yes, friend, it's exactly right. Tie-ups are the cord things below the loom. However, they're much more exciting than just that. They can do all kinds of incredible things to give you so much variation in your weaving fabric. So in today's episode, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use the full power of the tie-ups and have a lot more fun in your upcoming weaving projects. So let's start with the basics. How do you find the tie-ups and what do they do? The tie-ups are found below the loom, as we established, and in a floor loom like this, mine's considered a jack loom. Here's kind of how everything is built. I have petals down below that are called treadles that are connected to things called lambs, L-A-M-M. Those are long, skinny pieces that are connected to a jack that then pushes up the shafts. That's how everything is kind of stacked and connected to get this motion so that we can separate our warp yarns, throw a shuttle, and live happily ever after. That is the whole sequence of things, right? But if we go back down to the ground floor, our treadles need some way to be connected to the lambs, and that's where the tie-ups come in. Now, it's exactly what you think. It is a cord. Mine's not particularly clean, but it has, it has a loop at one end and a knot at the other. That is all they are. And in many versions of a floor loom like this, you have the ability to connect one treadle to multiple shafts. Now, not all. I'll make a point here that if you have a direct tie-up loom, that means you have one shaft, one treadle, end of sentence. So this episode, my friend, isn't going to work as well for you. However, if you have the ability to connect one treadle to multiple shafts, now we're talking. So let's discuss how tie-ups can really make a huge difference in our projects, right? So imagine that you learn a sequence for your feet, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just gonna kind of walk my feet across the treadles. No big deal. That's gonna be my sequence. But think of all the possibilities if you could make a little tweak and keep that sequence going, but your fabric looks different all the time. That is where the tie-ups become really, really magical. So let's start to look at a few examples so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to bring you nice and close so that you can see what I'm working on now, and then I'll walk you through how you can use your tie-ups to your best advantage. Okay, friends, so here is my current pattern I'm working with. This is a 2-2 twill, which means I always have 2 shafts up and 2 shafts down. So when you look below my loom and you look at the tie-ups, here's a picture here so that you can see. I'm not going to use the outside 2 treadles for this. I'm just using the 4 interior treadles, and I have 2 tied up per treadle. Do you see that? Okay, so here's what this looks like. I'm going to start with 1 and 2. It's just a nice, easy, simple 2-2 twill. And then I'm going to go 2 and 3. And I'm moving my feet just from left to right. And this is 3 and 4. And this is 4 and 1. See that? Lovely, right? Okay, so my goal here then is to keep my feet moving in the same sequence. Well, if I go down below and I change up my tie-ups, it's gonna be no problem, and I'm gonna get a completely different pattern. So hold that thought. I'm gonna go down below, I'm gonna mix things up, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I went down below the loom and I changed all my tie-ups so they only connect to 1 per. So remember, my feet are going to walk in this exact same sequence, but because I have changed the connection between the treadles and the shafts over here, then it's going to give me a different looking pattern. And in this case, I just changed it so that each one was only connected to 1. So let's see what that does for us. First of all, like I did before, I'm going to start on the left. I'm going to walk my feet just from left to right. Here we go. Now you'll notice that I only have 1 shaft is lifted here, so that means I've got more space in my warp yarns. So let's see what this does for us. Ooh, nice. Can you see this? See how dark that is? It's because so much of the weft is showing up because I'm lifting less yarns at a time. Look at that. You see how dramatic that is? Look at that really significant change just by tweaking the tie-ups. All right, you get an idea of that? Let's change it one more time just so you can see how really crazy we can get. All right, for this last variation, when I went down and retied my tie-ups, I did kind of a basket weave, plain weave variation, just to see what would happen there. So let's, I already have things lifted. There we go. Let's do the first one, which in this case is 1 and 2. And I'm marching my feet the same way from left to right. And my next treadle is 3 and 4. Get that under my floating selvage there. And then I went 1 and 3, like a little touch of plain weave in there. And 2 and 4. Let's do one more so you can see how different that looks. So starting at the left, depressing that treadle right there. And just marching my feet across the treadles from left to right. That's all I'm doing. But the effect is dramatically different, isn't it? Look at that. How cool is that? I had my feet go in the same sequence every time, but because the magic of the tie-ups, I could create this effect and this pattern and this little craziness right there. All of those with going through the same motion every time. My feet are always marching the same way. I'm doing the same motion over and over again. It's just a matter of just a little change of the tie-ups down below can make all the difference in the world. Isn't that cool? There's so much you can do with that, my friends. So I encourage you to play. How cool is that? Just by moving, changing, adding, subtracting, tie-ups, you can completely alter the look of your fabric. Now, I will admit, it's not always the most easy or fun thing to crawl down below a loom. So I recognize that changing tie-ups may not always be the most comfortable thing to do. But I want to remind you that that is an option, that you have this tool in your toolbox, that you can actually create a sequence for your feet for an entire fabric and make it look so different as you go, simply by remembering that you have magical powers in your tie-ups. So tell me, friends, do you tend to switch up your tie-ups frequently? And what kind of fun have you found by just moving around, adding, subtracting these cute little cords? All right, let me know in the comments what your relationship with tie-ups is. And have a wonderful week. Happy weaving.